And mille means what? What's it mean, Gavin? It means 1,000. Do you want to be my volunteer? Come on up here. Gavin's going to stand right here, okay? And Gavin is going to walk back to the folding door, and he's going to count his steps, but you're not going to count every one. You're going to count every other one. Okay? So let me see you do that. Count every other step and count out loud so I can hear you, see if you're doing it right. You're going to count every other one, go all the way down, touch the folding door there, and come back and tell me what number you get, okay? God bless you. So, for example, what's your favorite foot, your left foot or your right foot?
Right.
Okay, so only count when your right foot takes a step. Forget the other one. Just count the right ones, okay? Let me hear you count nice and loud. Go ahead.
1, 2.
That's it. Keep going. You're doing great. Walk normal.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
That's it. Keep going.
10.
Yep.
11.
Good job.
12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17.
17. So what Gavin did Gavin take 17 steps?
No.
What did he take, Paul? God bless you.
We took
Twice as many as that, didn't he? That's 34. But you know what Gavin did take 17 of? Watch this. Thanks, Gavin. He took 17 paces. Every time he took 2 steps, it was 1 pace. Did you get that idea? I'll do it right over here from Mia's desk, okay? I went 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7.5. I took 7.5 paces, okay? How many did you take, Gavin?
17.
You took 17. You went farther than I did. When the Romans were building their roads, they would build the roads, and then they had somebody in charge of counting how we're going to measure these roads. So they didn't have measuring sticks like we do. And you know what? They didn't know what a mile was. So the man who was in charge of the project would be watching the guys build the road, and when a long distance of it was already finished, he would walk along it and he would count the paces. He would count the paces. And for some reason, when he took 1,000 paces, he said, I kind of counted far enough, I'm going to put a marker there. So they got a special stone, kind of was shaped like that.
Like a house?
Well, it looked like a house, but it was a big rock that they put into the ground, and then they put the Roman numeral 1 on there. And that meant that that man measured off 1,000 paces. Now I'm going to ask you a math question. Carolyn, if he took 1,000 paces, how many steps did he take? Gabriel, how many steps did he take if he took 1,000 paces? Oh, Carolyn, you know?
1,000.
He took 1,000 paces. How many steps did he take? Paul?
2,000.
2,000 steps, didn't he? But they counted them as paces. And you know what? When he got to the place where there's 1,000 of these, you know what they called that? 1,000. And this is the Latin. 1,000 milia passuum, 1,000 paces. So they put up the 1 mark there. And then guess what happened next? You think that was the end of the road? When more road was built, the guy who counted them, what did he do, Paul?
He started from where he did.
He started from that stone and he started counting again. And what do you think happened when they got to 1,000 paces again? What do you think they did, Paul?
They took that same stone but wrote Roman numeral 2 on it.
Well, they didn't take the same stone. They left that one there. And they put up a new stone down the road, another 1,000 paces. I'm going to see if I can draw one like that this time. And they put number 2 on it. You know why? That was the second set of 1,000 paces. right?
And I get it too.
Good. Now let me see what you got. Let me see what you got. And the next one would have been 3, like the Roman numerals that you know. What does that remind you of when you're riding on the highway? Does that remind you of anything when you're riding on the car with mom and dad and you're on a big highway and you're going to see grandma in Chicago or New York City? Does that remind you of something?
It reminds me of driving really fast.
Driving fast. Did you ever see signs on the side of the road?
Yeah.
What does some of the signs say about the city that you're going to?
Where the next sign is.
What are the signs about? What are the signs about, Paul?
They're about like how far you drive.
How far until you get to the next city? That's where we got the idea from. Because the Romans would put up these stones on the side of the road. And you know why the Romans built these roads? This is a sad thing. The Romans built these roads so that they could get to their war places faster with their chariots. So they built this huge road system, and they could get there quicker because they could ride on their chariots. And when they built the roads, they were stone. They built the road. We can talk about roads another time. But I wanted to tell you about the mile markers. These became known as mile markers, and it comes from the Latin word mille. That's the plural right there. But that Latin word that you just learned with the Roman numeral M, because M means 1,000, right? When they came to 1,000, they just put the number 1 or the number 2 or the number 3. And when you were leaving Rome, you could tell how far away from Rome you were. What about when you come back? What would you be able to tell? What would you be able to tell, Paul?
How close you are.
How close you are. How much longer before we get to Rome? Super. Anna?
When I was talking to my uncle, I think I saw a sign that had deer on it, and so it means to like watch out for deer.
Be careful because there's deer around. And then that's another kind of sign you see on the road. But there's always signs on the road, how far till the next city. And that's a good thing to know because you know how much longer the trip is going to be. Because what do you say as soon as you pull out of the driveway with mom and dad and you're going on a trip? What do you say?
Oh.
What do you say? What do all kids say? Are we there yet? Well, when you get on the road, you'll be able to tell how much farther it is. So it's whatever city you're going to, it's going to say, like New York, 460 miles, Connecticut, 500 miles. It tells you. We got that idea from the Romans. And where did we get the word mile from? Where did the word mile come from? We say mile all the time. What do you think we got? How do we get connected with that word? Why do we say mile? You know why we say mile?
From the Romans.
Where? Yeah, you're right. How did we get it? Look at the board. Mille, good for you. What's mille mean? What's mille mean? It means mile. Okay, now, here's the question. Who can answer this question? Can you answer this question? What does mile, everybody knows what a mile is, right?
Yeah.
What does mile have to do with the Latin word mille?
Oh, I think I know.
What do you think, Michael?
I think that has 1,000 paces in 1 mile. I think that's where we get it from.
Wow. Super.